Wales hosting England. Second match between these two teams in as many weeks. It's a pretty interesting looking game. Just based on last week's result, Wales picked that team which was largely made up of their Grand Slam winning players from the start of the year. England, a much changed team, albeit at Twickenham, 33-19 last week. I don't think many of us saw that result coming. I mean, a fair few people picked England to win at Twickenham, but certainly not by that margin. Wales seemed to be a bit slow out of the blocks, although they did pick the game up in the second half. England, for all those changes, kind of seemed to hit the ground running. I thought the level of that game was actually pretty good for an opening game for both teams. I thought, compared to how it could have been with that level of rust, not having played any actual matches for a while. But no, it seemed relatively high level from both sides. So hoping for more of the same this week. It looks to be just a bit of a spicy one based on last week's results. So the Welsh guys will want to get that win back over the English. There's a whole lot going on with the world rankings. Some guys have said in the comments that the All Blacks could potentially drop to 6th if they lose to the Wallabies at the weekend and other results kind of go different directions. So yeah, there's lots to play for, although to be fair, with the World Cup in mind, no one's really paying that much attention to the world ranking because it's all about getting your hands on that William Webb Ellis trophy. But hey, I'll put the teams in the description so you guys can have a look. There are a few changes for both sides. Obviously, Wales' big one is the fact that Gareth Anscombe's out. That's pretty terrible news. I'm really gutted for that guy. You don't want to see any player, especially a guy who's like 28 years old, that peak time of their life to go down and not be able to make the World Cup. So it's really disappointing for him. Fingers crossed everybody else this week kind of gets through relatively unscathed and we get some good entertaining rugby. So Dan Biggar is in for Anscombe. So Gatland is not going to put Biggar in cotton wool. He's going to just keep him playing because I guess he needs that match fitness. Gareth Davies remains at 9, so inside him. Hadleigh Parkes and Jonathan Davis remain in the midfield. Josh Adams, George North, and Liam Williams are the outside backs. So, Dan Biggar is the only change in that Welsh backline. In the forwards, there's a couple of changes. Nicky Smith, Ken Owens, and Thomas Francis are still the front row, but Jake Ball comes into the second row. Alun Jones is still there as captain, and Wainwright. James Davis comes in at 7, and Ross Moriarty is there still at 8. Jarrod Evans is also there on the bench. So it's another change, but I mean, largely, Josh Navidi is there as well. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same team that played last week. So I am curious to see how at home in Cardiff, how they come out of the blocks. Hopefully, it's a touch quicker than last week. We know how England tend to start games with a bit of a punch, a bit of a hiss and a roar. So we'll see how they can stave off that English onslaught early on and see if they can go the distance over the 80 for the English, as they were very impressive last week. They've made a few changes, and if anything, for the most part, you look at that team and you wonder if it's going to be an even better one than last week, because some of the names they've brought in are pretty big ones. If you look at the front row, it's Genge, Cowan-Dickie, and Cole, which is the same as last week. Launchbury is still there, but Yules is gone, so Itoje comes into the second row. Courtney Laws is there at number 6. Ludlam retains his spot, so he's at 7. He's moved over from 6, and I believe Vunipola is still there at 8. So the fact that you can bring Courtney Laws in, I mean, Tom Curry is injured, but he's still named in the overall England squad, so he's going to come good. But the fact that you can just bring Courtney Laws in, it's a pretty tidy replacement. In the backs, it's still Willi, Heinz, and George Ford. So Heinz probably does need a few games, as many games as he can get for England, just to really get into the swing of things and show us that, he's good enough for that World Cup spot. A lot of guys in the comments have been backing him, so that's good to see, because you guys will have seen more of him in recent years than I would have. Piers, Francis, and Jonathan Joseph still in the midfield. Cokanasiga moves from the right wing to the left wing because Ruaridh McConnochie is back, so that's good news for him. His debut was delayed by a week last week. Kind of had to pull out late, which was probably pretty disappointing for him, but a week later it's not too bad, and he gets to make his debut in Cardiff, so that's going to be a good test for him as to how he can handle that pressure. Elliot Daly is still there at 15. Couple of changes on the bench. Jamie George comes in as the reserve hooker. Joe Marler's there. Kyle Sinkler's there. And I had to double check that I was reading the correct listings, because I was looking at the lineup, looking at the bench, Kyle Shingler, Joe Marler, George Cruz, and I saw Jack Singleton. I had to double take, wait, Jamie George is already playing. Why is Jack Singleton playing? Oh, they're playing 2 hookers on the bench because with Underhill out, Mark Wilson out, and now Tom Curry out, they are lacking in loose forwards. So they've put Singleton there. So that's an interesting one. But there's been numerous hookers throughout the world who have been able to easily switch from 2 to somewhere in the back row. Malcolm Marks has done it. Dion Ferry used to do it. So Jack Singleton as well. I haven't seen him play in the back row, but then again, I probably haven't seen him play anywhere near as much as some of you guys have. So you guys will have to let me know how you think that selection is going to go. Ben Youngs is in on the bench along with Farrell, and Tuilangi is still there as well. So again, it's a pretty strong looking England team with some very, very big players there. The fact that you got Owen Farrell on the bench, that's pretty cool. Wales by 2 points is what the bookmakers have got, so pretty tight. Rugby Forecast in the algorithm has got Wales by 1, so even a touch closer. So everyone's picking this to be a close game, at least in terms of algorithms and bookmakers. I'm not sure what you guys have got it by. You'll have to let me know in the comments. Last week's result was anything but yeah, this is a new week, and we will see how things go. You guys let me know your thoughts on this game. How do you see this one going? This one is on at a pretty ungodly hour for me here in New Zealand, so I will try to avoid all the spoilers, social media and whatnot, and I'll watch a delayed broadcast. Hopefully the broadcast I watch this week is not as stuttering like it was last week. The first half was very hard to watch because it was 20 seconds of gameplay and then it was slip forward 20 seconds, so it was pretty painful. But yeah, the company Rugby Pass that organises that sent everybody an apology and assure us that it's not going to happen again. We will see. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one, and yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.